What's cracking, y'all? It's your boy Julian Mafia coming back to you with another video. So we gotta talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw, and man, this was a good ass show. I definitely enjoyed it. There's some things we definitely got to talk about, and some build-ups. Um, especially with the Queen of the Ring tournament, and King of the Ring tournament happening, on the show and whatnot. So definitely want to get into it and discuss about what happened in that main event match. So let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. So we had John Cena kicking off Monday Night Raw, and basically coming off the loss of the Money in the Bank match, and R-Truth costing him that. So he was going to address that as soon as he got in the ring. So as he's picking up the mic, and he tells the fans that that y'all told him something at Money in the Bank, and brings up that the truth is a lie, and you put your energy into saving a sideshow comedian who pretends to be like him, and just continue downplaying R-Truth and calling him a gimmick, who the fans is pretty much going to forget about within a year. And then brings up that he's never going to let Truth benefit off him again. So you see the crowd, they just continue like calling out like the Truth, all that other stuff. And then he brings up about if you want to use your voice, use it to not send me class clowns. Like, use your voice to send me real competition. And brings up about how he beat some of their fan favorites like a R-Truth, like a Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. So this is him yet again healing it up, like we always expect that to happen. But out of nowhere, we hear CM Punk music hits, and that crowd was electric when Punk came out. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first encounter between Punk and Cena when it comes down to talking, since Punk came back. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong in the comments down below. Y'all just let me know. But this is the first time actually having like an interaction with each other outside of just wrestling type shit. And Punk grabs the mic, proceeds to confront Cena and let him know that he has some things he want to get off his chest, that he want to use his fist to do the talking, but told Cena, you're going to listen to everything I have to say. And then he brings up about him trying to ruin wrestling, and Punk is pretty much trying to defend it. Then he let it be known, like, I'm not doing this for TKO, I'm not doing it for the billionaires, I'm doing it for the people. Then he brings up Cena about him being mad, and that the fans didn't choose him, and that he had to go to establishments, and brought up at 2011 that the people chose Punk, and that Cena not having competition was all cap because he faced people like Cody, and Punk proceeds to tell Cena that I ain't gonna kiss the final boss ass like you do, and that the people are my boss, and I'll listen to them. And he brings up about if they want truth, they're gonna get Ron Killings, and that was so fucking good to hear the fans go crazy about that. Because you see how much Cena been downplaying R-Truth and all that, until where Punk pretty much countered that and let it be known. So he brings up about, taking the title off for him, and, bring about Elimination Chamber, when they first had an interaction after 10 years, that he had some respect for him and all that stuff. And when Seth Rollins hit him with a curb stomp, and he just sat there, let it happen, and then pulls Punk back into the ring, locking the STF, and, utter the words, I'm sorry, while Punk still had some type of consciousness and whatnot. And Punk, ain't gonna use that he gonna use that as disrespect and all, because it's like, the Cena I know wouldn't do no shit like that. So he's bringing all of that up, and then mentions about that when within those 18 dates, he's gonna take that title off him and all. But before I get into that, he did mention about challenging him for the championship and let him know, I'm gonna take that off you, and proceeds to say that that title corrupted you and it turned you into a monster. He said, I know that because in 2012, when I had the title, I felt I was the same way. The same exact way. And it wasn't until I came back to WWE when it was like, my thought process had changed. And he brings up about you is a monster with this title in your hand. And if I got to turn into the monster to take that off of you, then that's what I'll do. So he brings up the Cena and says, we got 18 dates left, while you're here. I'm going to make it my best interest to take that off you one of those dates. And brings up about, if he's not a coward and he's a man, if he's more Boston Red Sox than New York Yankees, he will accept his challenge tonight. And there were so many callbacks to the pipe bomb that he had when he cut on Cena, to some of their interactions they had back in 2012 and 2011. So I love the callback from Punk. I thought that was very interesting. And, he issued a challenge to Cena, on Raw. So when it looked like he was about to accept it, Cena says, not tonight. He said, for a match like this, needs to be done in Saudi Arabia for Night of Champions. And bring up that him and Punk one last time, at Night of Champions is worth. It's worth the accepting the challenge to put the title on the line. So this was that. But after that was all said and done, Seth Rollins music hits. And he comes out there with Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. Doesn't say a word. And he's just laughing, but he got the briefcase in his hand. Gonna be known that y'all better be on the lookout, because don't matter who wins this match, I might potentially cash in at Night of Champions. So real quick before I get into anything else, I thought this was a match that could have potentially happened at SummerSlam. And now finding out that this is confirmed for Night of Champions is very interesting, because let's say if CM Punk is successful and wins it, or even Cena does, who would be their opponent come SummerSlam? And as if Seth Rollins even cashes in. So it's a lot to talk about, when bringing those things up. So hopefully we get some type of answers behind that down the line. So this was that. And, we had a match with AJ Styles and Chad Gable and all. Styles ended up winning. It wasn't so bad, but none I really cared about that much. I'm just glad that AJ won, and hopefully he be in a better feud moving forward. Next, we end up getting our first Fatal 4-Way King of the Ring tournament match. And the match had Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez. And I love this match. It was very fast-paced out the gate. A lot of good spots. I did enjoy, and I love the chemistry of Roxanne and Liv Morgan, who at first had some little frictions in the beginning of the match, but decided to team up to take out Kairi Sane and Rhea Ripley. And it was pretty much working for the duration of the match. But towards the tail end, when Rhea Ripley started to really get things going and got the upper hand and was looking to pretty much put away I believe Liv Morgan after she hit the Riptide on her. You seen Raquel Rodriguez drag Rhea Ripley out of the ring, and as they pretty much going at each other, you see Kairi Sane, who literally on the top rope hits an insane elbow on both ladies, then gets up and hits an insane elbow onto Liv Morgan, and she going there for the pin. It immediately got interrupted by Roxanne Perez, who ends up flipping and doing a roll up on Kairi Sane and getting her for the 1, 2, 3, and now she is moving on to the second round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. And I gotta give respect to Roxanne Perez, because some way, somehow, she finds her way to get her victory. She did that, for the qualifying match for the Money in the Bank. And now you see her doing that, for the first round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. And she's going to be taking on whoever comes out of that Fatal 4-Way match on this SmackDown from the women's side. So I'm looking forward to seeing who she may be competing at that part. But there's going to cause some frictions between her and Liv Morgan. So we cut from commercial break, and Becky Lynch is coming out to the ring. And, she's going to pretty much address, her victory that she got over Lara Kyria, becoming the new women's Intercontinental Champion. So Becky comes out there, and, of course she's going to be upset because she hears the crowd not saying you deserve it like they always do all the time. And there's always new champions. So she's saying they ain't saying that good. Like, I don't care about that. I don't need to hear that from y'all anymore. Then it brings up about how Lara Kyria, her raising her hand, after, her winning the match, and felt like she didn't really put no type of serious considering into that, raising her hand and shit. And especially after the attack that she did, and was telling Lara Kyria to come out to redo it again. So as that's happening, and you see Lara Kyria coming out, and she has a serious look, and she's slowly walking, but Becky's pretty much saying, now you better get in this ring, and you're going to raise my hand the right way, how you're supposed to and all. But while she's saying that, out of nowhere, we get a returning Bayley, who goes on the attack on Becky Lynch and destroying her. And, lucky Becky was able to get out of harm's way and whatnot, and pretty much got up out of there. And I was already saying that it was going to be a matter of time before Bayley gets back. And if Becky Lynch was to become Women's Intercontinental Champion, this is the perfect feud to set up between her and Bayley. And lo and behold, we got it. So I'm looking forward to their interactions and whatnot. And we may either get a match from them at Night of Champions, Evolution, or SummerSlam. One way or another, we're going to see some interactions with them where that's how they're going to be on the line. And I ain't here for it. So after that was done and all that, out of nowhere, we see somebody in a black hoodie goes right in between Wade Barrett and Michael Cole, gets on top of the announce table, and a person that revealed himself was R-Truth. And he has a mic on his hand, and he just cut right to the chase and says, don't let nobody tell you that you don't matter or your voice don't matter. And said because of, the fans and whatnot, they brought Truth back. They made their voices heard saying we want Truth and all that. How much has been trending on X and all that stuff. Like, they really is the focal point on why R-Truth was there to come out to WWE. And I think this was very, straight up what R-Truth was saying. Like, this wasn't, no scripted shit. Like, this was coming from the heart of him. And he brought up about how the fans love Truth and all that. And he loves Truth. He glad he came back as well and stuff. But also, and this is when the twist started to happen, he was saying that R-Truth could be funny at times. He could be too nice. And he could be unforgiving. He could be too forgiving, excuse me. And then the crowd saying, what? And then, he got into that old R-Truth when he was here, like the don't what me type shit. Like, you seen that coming out of him. And it was like, oh, wow. Then he says, not to him. Like he feels different, he feels alive, and wanting to let people know. And this was pointed at John Cena because he brought this up earlier. He's saying that for people who thinks that I'm a lie, I'm a gimmick, even a sideshow comedian, even though he didn't say it, you know who he was talking about. This man pulls out a pair of scissors, decides to cut his fucking dreads off. And it was like, you could hear a pin drop in that arena. Everybody had the stunned look. And you hear a holy shit chants going on. And everybody was just puzzled of the whole thing. I was even shocked. Like, I couldn't believe it. So he cuts his dress off and he says the truth has set him free. And now he going to be referred to as Ron Killings. So now he using his real name. Somebody that we know in TNA and all that who was a different breed. So he said he's going to use his name Ron Killings, saying he's the whole truth. He's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And tell people to put respect on his name and left out. So to see that right there, I think we're getting a whole new character change from R-Truth. And I am fucking here for it. You know, I feel like at age 54, he can get the push that he rightfully deserves. And in my opinion, if he do get the title, I'd rather it be the IC title. Like, if him and Dominic has a match, I would want to see this version of Truth take on Dominic. Because I think this version of Truth, who ain't the comedic side of him or anything like that, who literally would be taken serious, can go a long way. And I'm here for it. Like, this was so good, and that crowd was so electric. So electric when Truth came out. So that goes to show you that when fans care about you and feel like you got mistreated and you deserve, you know, an opportunity, they're going to make their voices heard. You know, so a lot of people who thought this was a work and whatnot, that was not a work at all. Like, it's because of Truth and because of the fans that really stand behind him and was pretty much hijacking to bring Truth back to WWE. This is what we end up getting. And it paid off a whole lot. So I'm happy to see him back. I can't wait to see what is in store for him because I know it's going to be good. And I am here for it. I am fucking here for it. So there's that. So we cut in after that to the match of the men's Fatal 4-Way King of the Ring qualifying tournament of Penta, Braun Breaker, Dominic, and Sami Zayn. And the match out the gate was fast paced. Braun Breaker started going ballistic. Like, this man been on an absolute tear. And I love the work that he's been doing. You know, so he been dominating all that. Everybody has some good offenses in the match, which I expected as always. But it wasn't towards the tail end when he pretty much takes Penta out of the ring. And of course, you know, Braun Breaker, when he comes out of that ring and he does that sprint around the ring to go spear somebody, Penta was going to be on the receiving end of that. And this man, Braun Breaker, hauled ass and speared the shit out of Penta. He pretty much packed him up to the gulags. But once it was done, out of nowhere, you see LA Knight grabs Braun Breaker, hits the BFT on him, packs him up. He's out of the equation right now. It's only Sami Zayn and Dominic in the ring. And he hits Sami hits Dominic with a move on the corner. I forgot the name of it. A buckle bomb, I think I would have called, some shit like that. And after it was done, he proceeds to go in the corner, hits a haluva kick onto Penta. And I meant Penta Dominic. I don't know why I'm mixed up. So He covers him for the 1, the 2, and the 3, and Sammy advances to the second round of the King of the Ring tournament. And I honestly thought that it was going to be Braun Breaker that was going to potentially win because I thought we were going to get some interference from either Seth or Bronson Reed, which I'm shocked didn't happen. And Sammy to win, I'm not mad at it. It's the right call to do because he rightfully deserved that, you know. And then he had a backstage with him and Karrion Kross. And, you know, Karrion Kross going to play the mind games he always do, going to confront Sammy, talking his shit. And Sammy let him know, like, I am good enough to win a world championship, which I truthfully believe that he will be a world champion real soon. That we're looking forward. Then we had Nikki Bella, who I can honestly give two shits about. You know, she pretty much pulls up to announce about this next month with WWE Evolution, and pretty much was promoting that, which people really didn't, you know, care about and all that stuff. But as that's happening, Liv, and she started naming out the wrestlers, you know, who she gave utmost respect for, thought they was really good. She brings up about you know, Io Sky, Roxanne Perez, you know. But of course, Liv Morgan being heated after everything that happened, especially backstage when with Dominic, you know, and Finn Balor congratulating Roxanne Perez on it. And she was upset about how, you know, Roxanne won because of that whole roll up shit. So she came out to the ring in full crash out mode on Nikki, telling her that, you know, you mention all these women's names, but you ain't mention my name, who to me, I am the better wrestler than anybody and all that stuff. And it even brings up about, you know, I think you only did that because you're jealous of me. And we're saying that if I was in the ring around that time frame that you was and all that I still would have been better than you. And it brings up about how, you know, I'm a better wrestler than you. I'm a champion. And I have a man. So she was really just talking her shit and all. Then, of course, Nikki, like, countered back telling her that, you told me you have a man, but, you know, it ain't seem that way with Dominic being up on Roxanne Perez, and you know that was going to strike a nerve to Liv. So she got pissed off about that. And as that happened and Nikki about to leave out, she Liv proceeds to tell her that, you know, at the end of the day, you're nothing more than a reality show diva. And of course, that was going to strike a nerve to Nikki Bella. And as she's trying to get back into the ring, Liv Morgan hits her with an oblivion and leaves out. And that's insane. I think we might get a match between the two, probably at WWE Evolution. I'm not even gonna lie. I think we're gonna get a match leading up to that. And am I really gonna care about it? No, not so much, because at the end of the day, if it happens, Liv Morgan better win. Bottom line. You know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So there's with that. But we now cut into the main event. Gunther taking on Jey Uso. And in my opinion, I knew this was going to be good, but at the same time, you know, Jey being hurt, especially about his rib cage after that spot that Logan Paul did the moonset on him on the announce table, and Jey being badly hurt. You know, coming into this matchup, it was going to be the advantage over Gunther, and that's exactly what happens. So after the match started and all that, you know, you see Jey trying to lock in the sleeper hole on Gunther most of the time, trying to put it away early, but it wasn't happening. Then Gunther trying to lock in the sleeper hole as well, and you know, Jey continued to fight. Also, it was pretty much counter at the counter towards the beginning of the match, and as we started getting towards the ending of it, you start seeing Gunther starting to have the upper hand on Jey, but Jey pretty much trying to counter that back, hitting him with a spear, and then going up for Uso splash, and of course Gunther was going to kick out of that. So as he's trying to generate more offense as well. Jay continued to do so, hitting another spear on Gunther and then going off another Uso splash, but that wasn't going to be enough. And I want y'all to understand, through the duration of the match, Gunther pretty much put his attention on the ribs of Jey Uso and was trying to target that to pretty much weaken him. And it was working to a certain degree, but Jay was also fighting off between his chops, his forearms, all that stuff. So Jay is still holding his own. And once we started getting towards the tail end of the match, you seen Gunther lock in a sleeper hold on the Jay and goes on the ground on him and has it locked in tightly. So Jay trying to fight out, trying to get to the ropes. And as he did for a split second, Gunther will roll him back into the middle of the ring, had the hole locked in and stuff. And many times Jay got out of it, even trying to lock in the sleeper hold on Gunther and successfully did it. And we thought that this was that moment there that Gunther may potentially tap out again. And, you know, as this happening, Gunther was somehow able to get out of the hole, lock the sleeper hold back on the Jay again, and completely, like, lock the hole in tight to where he couldn't move. And right when we thought that Jay would continue to fight and try to get to the ropes, he completely passes out, which shocked the hell out of me. So as it's happening, the ref rings the bell, and Gunther is now your new world heavyweight champion. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, is it the right call for Gunther to be champion? In my honest opinion, I would have thought Jay would have still had it up until SummerSlam. And if anything, Seth would have potentially probably cashed in whoever won that match. That's what I thought. And it didn't happen. Because literally after that was done and all that, you know, Gunther raising up the title, power went off, and then the show ended there. So we never had no cash in from Seth at all. And I don't know. I think for Jay, from having the title for only 51 months, 51 days, I'm saying months for 51 days. I feel like that was still a short title reign. And I would have rather it probably lasted until SummerSlam. I think that would have been fine. Now, have all the Jay matches been title matches been good? Not really. But like I say now, that this match right here was his best one. This was better than the WrestleMania match, without a shadow of a doubt. And you saw that fight from Jay. Like, he continued to fight on and was willing to pretty much die on his own shield before tapping out. So I gave him respect for that. And I thought he would have still had the title long for up until SummerSlam and then drop it there. Because I didn't expect him to have that shit for a year. But, you know, we got Gunther as champion. I want to see where they go with this, but I don't envision a circumstance that Gunther holds that title for another year. I don't see that happening. I think the max will probably be a month and a half or 2 months. Because I think Seth would take it off him. And that would be from a cash in. So, there was that. But if I'm Jey Uso, and I mean this wholeheartedly, next week, he better go out there on full crash out mode. We need right-hand man crash out Jey Uso, who don't give a fuck about anything. I don't want to see no yeet dance or anything. This man took the title off you and whatnot. And you better do whatever you can to get it back. And I hope that we get that side of Jey Uso who crashes out and doesn't give a fuck about anything after that. If that Jey Uso comes out and we see him pretty much trying to take out Gunther and all that, I'm here for it because you could do an angle with this. So I definitely want to see what they're going to have lined up between the two and all that. I know it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to all that. But yeah, that ended up concluding Monday Night Raw and all. Very solid show. Definitely enjoyed it. If I had to give it a rating, for me personally, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. It was pretty that good. If you haven't seen it, I advise y'all to go check it out whenever I can. But yeah, comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite part on Monday Night Show or Monday Night Raw. Sorry, I'm tired. Did you like the show? Would you give it a rating? What was your favorite part of the show? You let me know in the comments down below. But make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Click the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop content right here on this channel. And I appreciate your love and support. Road to 200 subscribers. Continue to keep God first. Trust the process of anything that you do in life. Your time will come. And I'm going to catch you on the next video. Peace.